Welcome to the Jazzy Eyes Podcast, taking care of your vision with expert precision. Here's your host, Dr. Thuy Nguyen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Jazzy Eyes Podcast. I am your co-host, Jeremy Wolf, joined by your host, Dr. Nguyen.
Hello.
Dr. Nguyen, always a pleasure. It's been a minute.
Yes.
Happy Monday. And thanks everyone for tuning in. So the topic of today's podcast is going to be, you recently did an article that we're going to be running in Cooper City Living magazine, and it was all about eye allergies, which is an interesting topic because everybody's heard of allergies, myself included, but I would be hard pressed to explain what they actually are. So I think now would be appropriate for you to start with some basics, right? What exactly are, I guess we'll talk about eye allergies, obviously, because you're an optometrist, but what exactly are they and how do they differ from maybe some of the other common eye conditions like infections and things like that?
Allergies, in layman's term, is basically when your immune system throws a hissy fit over normal, everyday pollen, dust, animal dander, where a lot of things, normal people, they don't have any reactions to these common day pollen and stuff. Your immune system, it's not supposed to be here. It doesn't belong here. And so it throws like this huge immune reaction. And it's like your eyes start watering, they start to itch, your nose starts running, and you basically look like you've caught a cold or the flu. So in terms of eyes, the eyes get really itchy. It gets teary. You're constantly rubbing it. The more you rub it, it doesn't get any better. It feels like it itches even more. And then you could be very light sensitive depending on how bad your eye allergies are.
So why are some people, it seems, more prone to eye allergies than others? Is this more of is it a genetic thing, environmental, a mix of both?
I would say that it's a mix of both. Now, environmentally, it could be you are someone who has a lot of pets, cats, dogs. Most of the times, actually, allergies, your child is more, the gene for allergies is actually coming from the dad more than it is the mom.
Really?
Yeah, so my nephew
Why
has
would
allergies.
that be the case?
Yeah, my nephew has allergies, and he went through testing and stuff like that. And the doctor had told my sister, his mom, saying, "Oh, the allergies or the predisposition for allergies comes from the dad." Funny enough, my brother-in-law, his dad has terrible allergies too.
It's so interesting and fascinating. It's like the genetics, they'll blow your mind, right? Like male
Yeah.
pattern baldness is usually on one parent's side than the other.
Yeah. But with everything, I think it's a combination of both. It's not just solely environmental, or it's not just solely genetics.
Yeah, like most things, a mix. So you mentioned some of the symptoms that folks can experience from allergies. How would one, if you start getting whatever, dry eyes or irritation, how could you distinguish between allergies and then maybe say another type of condition?
Right. So allergies, most of the times you're tearing. And sometimes there might be some discharge, like mucus discharge. It's stringy, it's clear. If it was an eye infection, the discharge coming from your eyes, it'd be more like a yellow or a green discharge. And you would wake up in the morning with your eyes stuck shut. That's an infection.
Interesting.
And you would be very itchy.
Speaking of itchy, I'm curious because I don't know if I have allergies or not, but sometimes I do get an itch in my eye, and I just, obviously you want to rub it and itch it. Why does rubbing it and itching it make the symptoms worse? And can doing that to excess cause additional damage?
Yes, because your eyes are already irritated. If it's already irritated and you rub it even more, that as is fire to the flame, it's even more irritated. And so it's a cycle of irritation that makes it keep itching. Now, the best thing to do is not to itch it or not to rub your eyes, but that's so hard to do.
Yeah, you got to really focus away from the itch.
Yeah, and the more you rub, some people, as they rub, they start to thin out the skin around their eyes, and that can cause like eczema or permanent darkness around the eyes, like dark. It might look like permanent dark circles if you rub hard enough and more frequently.
What are some of the, you mentioned pets, obviously folks have allergies to pets. What are some of the most common, aside from pets, the most common triggers for eye allergies? And how can someone, short of just experiencing it and getting allergies, how can somebody determine or figure out what their specific triggers are?
So pet dander, dust is a very common one. Pollen, yes. Dog, sorry, they're so cute, but sometimes, and some people who are allergic to pets, they don't care. They're going to keep their pets. They'll put up with the allergies.
This guy's not going anywhere. Allergies and all.
Right. A lot of people know during a certain season of the year when they start to get more itchy. I don't know if you've noticed last spring season, there was so much pollen in the air. At one point, my car is gray. So when I walked out before leaving for work, my whole car was covered in yellow pollen. Like it was yellow up top. Dust, pollen, animal dander. Some people are allergic to, like, obviously when you wear sunscreen or some sort of face cream, it can get in the eye too. That can cause a chemical reaction. That's also an allergic reaction as well.
Are there any tests to determine if you have specific allergies, or is that just something that you're going to experience if you have them and then you deal with it afterwards?
You do their skin test, when they prick you with a bunch of needles and whatever causes a welt, that's what you're allergic to. However, it's not like a standard. You really don't probe for it unless you want to know what kind of allergy you have. It isn't in your everyday typical physical or doctor's visit.
How about treatment, right? What are some of like over the counter treatment options that you'd recommend for managing allergies? Are there any mistakes that people commonly make when using these products?
Yeah, so we usually start conservatively. So eye drops, preservative-free artificial tears. As you frequently use them, it could wash out all of the pollen or the dust that's in the eyes, like a washout. I like to tell some people too that they can throw their preservative-free artificial tears in the fridge so that it gets
cold. When you say artificial
cold.
tears, are we talking about like saline drops, that kind of thing? Like
No, we're talking about like a refresh tears or like a sustain, like those artificial tears that sometimes say
just
that
kind of washes, like washing the eye out as close to natural tears as possible. Okay,
those type. You can throw it in the fridge, have it get cold, and once you use it, it relieves the itching a little bit without having to rub. Some people, they pick up, there's so many eye drops when you go to the CVS pharmacy or Publix that you really don't know which one to get. Some people get a preserved drops and it already has preservative in it. Sometimes that exacerbates the irritation or the allergies that your eyes were already feeling. And so long-term use of a preserved eye drops can make the allergy worse. Like, for example, Visine.
Yeah, I don't want any preservatives in my eye.
No, in anything. Anything, right.
So what about, so you got allergies, whatever, you go to Publix, you pick up some whatever Visine or whatever brand and you put it in. You pick up non-preservatives, good natural stuff. Right. It's not that the issue is not getting
a cold compress.
A cold compress. Okay, but the issue is not getting resolved. Time to go see an eye doctor. Like when should somebody seek prescription medication? What kind of options are typically available? What do you typically see like walking in your office when it comes to severe allergies, and what do you guys typically do to fix that?
So by the time they're in my office, their eyes are incredibly puffy, swollen to the point where they can barely open their eyes. They're very light sensitive. The itch won't go away, and it's just red and puffy right where their eyes are. Most of the times they've already tried the preservative free drops. They've already tried the cold compresses. Nothing really helps. What we can do is give them or start them on a Pataday. Pataday is an antihistamine you can also find over the counter. It's like a Benadryl before your eyes in eye drop form. In terms of prescribed medication, if the Pataday doesn't work, we can give them like a mild steroid to address the inflammation that was caused by the allergies, to calm that part down a little bit and make the itching a little bit better, the irritation a little bit better. Worst case is, let's say nothing works. The Pataday doesn't work.
All right, you're gonna have to take your eye. Nothing's working. Gonna remove the eyeball.
Thankfully, you can keep both eyes.
Okay, good.
But it's not something we would do, but we would probably send you out for an allergy shot.
Not in the eye, I hope.
No, not in the eye. You would go
I know
to
we
a
talked on a
dermatologist.
previous podcast about injections in the eye, and I was a little
No,
squirmish.
no one would come with allergies. Everyone would stay far away from the eye doctor if they had to know they had to get a shot. But it's just an allergy shot. It goes in the arm. That's only if you have chronic allergies or if this is really becoming a problem. Now, the allergy shots, it does take a couple months to kick in, 4 or 5 months. But while you're on the allergy shots, we can continue with the artificial tears, the Pataday, or any mild steroids to help address the issue a little bit while the shots kick in.
As with most things, prevention, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. What are some tips you can give folks out there, maybe on developing some habits, things they can do to prevent these flare-ups? Let's say you're prone to allergies. I'd imagine there's things you can do to limit the instances of these flare-ups, right? What are some thoughts, tips, things that people can do?
The hardest thing to do is avoid your triggers, especially if you don't know what your triggers are. That's the hardest.
Especially if you have pets and those are your triggers, right?
You can't get rid of those. So what you could do, allergies is a chronic thing, but if you know that your allergies start at a certain time of the year, you can pregame by doing all the conservative stuff, eye drops or the Pataday. The Pataday you can get over the counter. You can actually start a couple weeks before when your allergies are supposed to kick in to lessen the blow. You can also keep up with lid hygienes just to keep your eyes as clean as possible. Just wake up in the morning, you can do lid scrubs, or you can do just keep the lids clean. Artificial tear, Pataday, and you're good to go for the morning. Obviously, don't rub your eyes, don't touch your eyes.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Hard to do because you don't know how many times you touch your face throughout the day, right?
Yeah, it's a subconscious thing. You don't even notice.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can get a couple drops of antihistamine in and get your day started a couple weeks before the allergy seasons just to lessen the blow.
Indeed. Are there anything we didn't talk about already, common misconceptions that people typically have when they come in your office and I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that, or I didn't know I shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah, I think the most common misconception is when it comes to the temperature of the compresses that you're supposed to do. Some people would
warm,
dry.
right?
Yeah, so some people with dry eyes is mostly a warm compress. Allergies is mostly a cold compress. Now, some people have a combination of both. They have dry eyes as well as allergies. So it's what do you do? It depends on if the predominant symptom is itching or if there's a gritty burning sensation. If it is mostly allergies and you're itching a whole lot and the eyelid is swollen, I would do a cold compress. Now you can do a warm compress in the morning and do a cold compress at night, but it's commonly mistaken dry eyes and allergies together.
All right.
But something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. Anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap this up? Did I catch everything?
I think we covered a good amount.
All right, then we will leave it at that. Everyone out there, thanks so much for tuning in. If you guys are having issues with your eyes, be it allergies or anything else, leave it in the comments below. Let us know what's going on. The team over at Jazzy Eyes is always available to help. So if you can't fix the issue on your own, reach out anytime. They are a wealth of knowledge and they are doing good work in our lovely community. Everyone, have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you all next time on the next episode of the Jazzy Eyes Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Jazzy Eyes Podcast. For more information, visit jazzyeyes.com or contact 954-473-0100.